We're going to be talking a lot tonight about our product. We're going to be talking tonight about the science of our product. We're going to be talking this evening about how this product works and studies, real life studies, not anecdotal, not my product's better than your product, not, this does this and we think it's doing this. This is hard data, hard information, hardwired. So I'm going to give you about 60 more seconds to hit anybody else that you're trying to get into in this information this evening, anybody that you're trying to share this information with, because we're super, super excited to have you on here this evening and excited to have you here. Dr. Ron, if you're here, I don't know if we have Ron here yet or not. No, got Dr. Ron. Let me make sure here. He's in there. Okay, we're going to pull you in, Dr. Ron. Okay, let me click it real quick. Oh, sweet. There he is. Yeah, all right, guys. So again, my name's John Taylor. I'm from Houston, Texas, actually calling in this evening from Mason, Texas. That's where my wife grew up. So I'm actually here. It was the kids' spring break. So we thought we would all come spend some time out in the country, get a chance to be together with family and loved ones here in Mason, Texas. So our company's called PrimeMyBody, and if you hopefully you've had a chance to check out this website, hopefully you've had a chance to review some of the PMB science information that's been accumulated over the course of last year, studies that have done things that people are very excited about. People are reviewing information they're reviewing. Is this product something I want to take? Is this just for NFL players? Is it for the everyday person that's out there? Who does this impact? Who are the people that can use this product? Man, I love this product. I love what this product does. Focus is absolutely amazing. Getting a chance to utilize this product has been amazing for my family. And I'm super excited about what it's been able to do for friends of mine, family of mine, family of yours, people of yours that have been using this product. And it's exciting. It's a very, very exciting time inside the company PrimeMyBody. The gentleman we're introducing you to is our chief medical advisor. He is an individual that, go follow him on Instagram, go follow him on Facebook. He'll tell you his credentials here in just a second, who he is, where he comes from, his family, what they've done for years, helping people both here and around the world. He is one of the most dynamic individuals you'll ever meet, and he's all about data. That's what I like about Dr. Ron. He is all about data. It's not about the anecdotal conversation. It's not about, I think this does this, I hope this does. He is about the nuts and bolts of what data means for you. At the end, we'll talk for about 5 to 7 minutes on opportunity, how you can become a part of this. Maybe you just want to purchase our product. Maybe you want to learn how to become more as an affiliate. A lot of people today are uncertain in the world that we're living in, so people are looking more and more to build a business. So at the very end, we'll cover, let's say 5 to 7 minutes, 10 at the longest. Won't go into a presentation, but we'll banter back and forth and have some conversation about our company, PrimeMyBody, how you can participate in our company and be a part of this. So with that being said, we got 5 after, Dr. Ron, 5 after 8 Central Standard Time. And I'm turning the call over to you. Come talk to us about science tonight. Come talk to us about what these studies mean, what's in that amazing bottle, and how are we impacting lives both here, Japan, Mexico, and soon to be around the world.
Great. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great, man. You got a video.
Oh, I have a what?
I've got to get you on the video somewhere.
I know. You gotta make me light up, John Taylor.
I'm gonna let Brian do that. Brian's good at lighting people up.
Okay, well, good. Hey, yeah. Oh, what just happened? Start video.
There you are. Boom.
You see me?
I can see you, man. You look
I
great.
can't see myself, so this is terrible. I don't even know what I look like. So, looking at my nose, I apologize. And so, all right. So, everybody, hello. This is Cheng Ruan, and I'm so happy to talk to y'all today. For those people who don't know me, so I'm an internal medicine doctor, board certified here in Houston, Texas. I founded Texas Center for Lifestyle Medicine. in 2017, and now the newly founded digital platform of functional medicine called the TCLM University. My entire passion of what I do is to make integrative care and medicine accessible to the general public. And I got on board with PrimeMyBody about, I guess, a year and a half ago. And the idea is to look at things very differently. So, you know, when Paul Rogers approached to me and John Taylor and sat me down, it's like, look, we want to do things different. We want to do things because we care about people. And I'm like, well, I care about people too. So let's see what we can do. So over that journey, and it's been a long journey, we have a lot of things developed to happen. And what came out of it was with this product called Recept, and then which now turned into the name called Focus. And so the Focus is the latest iteration of what's really the big science behind what's really going on. And I'm super happy to talk about that. And so one of my, I can see myself now, great. So one of my main passions is I'm an MD, so I'm very clinical. So what I wanted to do is to figure out what things did for people. I'm not a PhD, so I don't really get too much into the pharmacodynamics and the metabolism of different things. I want to say, hey, this is the product. What happens when people take it? And you see on this page here, quality of life. How are people improving their quality of life? Are we improving quality of life? And also the dedication to the purity of ingredients and making sure it's third-party tested and whatnot. So I think what came out of this entire experience were actually stories of people going through very magnificent changes in my practice and ultimately out there in the world. And so, you know, I can't tell you what amazing stories I've heard from people in Taiwan and Japan and all over the world, really understanding what some of this stuff can really do for you. So what I wanted to do was to show you this. And this is an accumulation of the last year and a half of what we've been trying to do. And that this is such a beautiful page, and I'm immensely proud of what we've done, because what we did is not just, you know, put some people through some testing. What we did was to look at things that no one has ever looked at before. And so if you look at, you know, this page in particular, we really wanted to tackle, no pun intended, some of these professional football players and NFL football players and what they were going through. And so what started in this journey of just setting things up, setting the brain scans up and getting it done, turned out to be one of the most memorable experiences of my life, because we were able to get stories. And I really do think that stories, emotionality, and the mental torment of what some of these players have gone through, especially after exiting the league and dealing with the stuff on their own, is something that we really need to talk about, because, you know, they're not alone in it. And also, you guys will find out very soon that we were looking at military veterans, and they were going through very similar things as well. And then we looked at, you know, people in the health industry and seeing what they were going through. But check this out, you know, if there's anything that really came out of this, it was to really just help one person achieve an outcome. That's what I said. Let's get some studies done. If we have one person, then we're good. And what turned out to be one person was a lot of people, because even after we did the studies on the NFL player, 3-4 days shortly afterwards, we're getting amazing testimonials in my text message. You know, oh my gosh, you know, my husband is back to the way that he was before, and you know, my son is starting to appear normal again and stuff like that. And so those are the things that give me the chills. So I'm going to give you some details now. That's really the overview and the passion and emotion behind why we did something like this. Let me give you the overview. So basically what we did with the help of also former NFL players, Brian Jones and Kenyon Rashid, was that we took these former NFL players and we asked them to come in, and we asked them to do a baseline brain map. So what is a brain map? A brain map basically is a device where they put a cap on their head and it has electrodes, and it's sensing different portions of the brain. So the best way I can make you understand what this is that if you were to think that this head of this NFL player was the globe, okay, what you're trying to do is to detect seismic activity. Like, where are the tectonic plates shifting? What's causing these little earthquakes that are really going on, right? And these little quakes, although they're little, they add up to long-term effects on the anatomy of the world. Same thing with the brain. There's different patterns that are in the brain that we can pick up that can cause long-term effects on brain health and wellness, and that's exactly what we see. And so we have these NFL players, former NFL players, they sit down and they go through a test that's kind of like a stress test of the brain, where we take them through a series of different things that mimic like a calm state, drowsy state, awake state, and then their focus and concentrated states. And so we're taking them through this entire sequence with the eyes open and then with the eyes closed. And then we look at different mathematical calculations of what's really going on with the brain. So if you look at this graph right here, one of the things that we really looked at is something called a theta beta ratio, and all it really is a marker of attention. And so the markers of attention started to improve, and although it was not abnormal per se, but we do see some decrease in that marker of attention, and this is statistically significant. Try to say that 3 times as fast. It's statistically significant that the actual speed for them to focus actually decreased. And so that was really exciting to see, because very few things can actually do this. In fact, there's only the first things that are described to do this is a whole group of drugs at the very beginning in the 1970s called nootropic drugs, and now we have natural things that are nootropics. And nootropic just means something that's able to improve the speed of cognition. And cognition is the ability for your brain to really understand and focus. And so that's really exciting. Okay, cool. We have one win. So we have one win now. And now let's look at the second win. By the way, there were more than 42 players. There was actually 52 players, but only 42 allowed us to use the data. So that's the number of people that we scanned. So let's look at the second win. The second win I'm even more excited about is because this is actually looking at processing speed. So if your brain was a computer and there's a processor that's in there, we can actually detect what the processing speed is by looking at a mathematical calculation of the entirety of the brain. And so we see that processing speed, the info processing speed come from 370 to 341. So the ability for the brain to process is actually faster. So when you look at the numbers, the lower the number is better. So 370 milliseconds of delay until the process versus 341 milliseconds of delay, right? And so if you were a high professional athlete, or if you were someone in the military, or if you were a military sniper, then those milliseconds mean a lot to you, right? And so we can actually now look at the quantity of which it improves. And that's really exciting as well. So now we have 2 wins. We're like patting ourselves on the back. We have 2 wins. We're really excited about it. And now let's go to if you just zoom back out and come down real quick onto this one. Thank you, visual processing. This was totally unexpected. So what happens is that there's a way where the machine actually can calculate how fast how fast your brain is triggered when you see something like a light or a contrast, and then your brain processes it. And so this processing delay went from 212 milliseconds to 179 milliseconds, so it's much less delayed. I am not sure why this happened, but I'm glad it actually did. And so there's a few theories on why it actually happens, and I'm not going to go into too much of that molecular detail, but what I will tell you is that if you have something that improves the ability for the brain to focus, ability for the brain process data in general, and the ability for visual processing. That's 3 for 3. So we're very excited about that. And so there's a lot of I've studied a lot of different not just hemp products, but products in general out there. Someone just said I would like the molecular detail. I will do that probably on Instagram Live with some science into the molecular detail. So there's products out there that I've seen that are marketed as these nootropics, which enhance brain cognition, and they actually use a very similar machine to look at some of this, but nothing is the data that we have here. Nothing has improved the amount that we have here. No one's done extensively into professional sports as we've done here as well. So I'm very glad to be part of this process. Incredible, yes, Ashley, it is incredible. I'm very glad to be part of this process, and very glad that these players took their time to really help us out and understand what the physiological effects is on this. Now, you might be asking, okay, all right, so how fast are you measuring it after they take the focus? So literally, the players sit down with the machine. They finish the first session right away, give them an entire dropper full, okay? And they take the test right after that. There's no delays. They take the test right after that, and then they keep going with it. So the second question is, Doc, if they took the test twice, wouldn't they just do better the second time? No. Actually, what happens is that you can't really fake the test very well, is because whenever your brain goes through a testing, it becomes fatigued. And usually you can actually see that fatigue on the machine. People generally do worse on the machine after the second time. Why? Because we tested it. So so in order to get our original data correct, we actually had to do it twice to make sure that some of these numbers were correct. This is about 1.5 years ago. And so people always do worse the second time. The processing speed gets worse. Their reaction time gets worse, and then the different portions of the brain power gets worse. And so you know, in terms of the value of what this is, I mean, this is exactly what it shows, is that yes, we have data looking at these brains of improvements in these metrics. And so, and this is the brain mapping. And so you want to go to that other one. Who's controlling the computer? It's not me. It's kind of cool. So if you go to the other side, I want to talk about what a brain map even is. Okay, how did this technology even come in? And so, I mean, this is something that's developed. EEG, or electroencephalograms, are the machinery that detects different patterns in the brain. And then so quantitative EEG, or QEEG, was developed about 35 years ago, and the modern version of what it is developed about 22 years ago. And the QEEG basically takes all the EEG data and makes it a mathematical calculation. And now the modern day machines, the NeuroScan, which we use, is a very high def, a very sensitive machine with very complex mathematical computations. So what it does is it forms an image. It forms like a mathematical image, and we translate that into different colors and the thing that you see on the brain right there. And so you can see what the brain is doing at every frequency. So let's say if you're in like a 2 to 4 hertz frequency, you're kind of drowsy, or even in a very deep meditative state, and then you reach the low betas where you're just calm, but you're kind of awake, but you're still concentrating. And then you reach the high betas into low alphas where you're hypervigilant, hyperconcentrated, maybe a little excited. And so we're taking the brain into each of these frequencies and hertz. And that's why you see so many pictures of the brains that's on the screen. And we look at what is it doing.
Do we know that person's brain? We know them in PrimeMyBody, correct?
The one that's on the screen?
Uh-huh. I think he plays for the Eagles.
I'm pretty sure that's Jonas right there.
Got you. Throw a little Jonas love out there.
This must be the after, because it looks too good to be. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Actually, I do think that's the after. Now that I look at it, because his brain was much better afterwards. And so what happens is now you have these depictions of the brain, and you have these mathematical calculations of visual reaction, of brain processing speed, and of attention. And if we see that improve, and by the way, all three graphs show statistical significance. So if you look at the results of the graphs, it actually tells you the standard deviations and the statistical significance that's there. Well, this website is very beautiful, by the way. So good job on making it. All right, so I'm actually more excited about the quality of life. Is this the quality? Yes. So I'm more excited about this page than the other page. I'm just as excited about both. I shouldn't say one or the other. It's like picking your favorite child. So I'm excited about this just because the number of people that we actually tested is 121 people that we actually tested. Okay, this is cool. So the effective focus on MSQ. And MSQ is something called a medical symptom questionnaire. This is what we use in functional medicine to assess people's toxicity scales and their symptoms. So it looks at mental health, it looks at pain, it looks at energy, it looks at joint issues, it looks at the entire body. So basically, it's the best score of the quality of life and the most comprehensive score of the quality of life that we see. And usually in functional medicine, we say that, hey, if you're above like 25 or 30, we really need to see you to help you through life. And so these are the people, these 121 people, started at the score of just under 60. And what happened is we wanted to see not just how they do in a month, because that was the original study, but how they do month after month after month into month 3. And so a little background, just before I was with PrimeMyBody, I was with 2 other supplement companies looking at the exact same thing. But what happens usually is that you see that people get better after the first month and they start to tail off a little bit, right? And they'll be like, okay. And then sometimes it'll rebound back a little bit. And that's pretty typical in a lot of supplements and trying to help the brain and stuff like that. Now, but this is interesting. So because from initial to month 1, you have statistical significance of improvement, and then month 1 to month 2, it's better. Month 2 to month 3, it's even better. And I wish I carried out more. I should have, but I actually didn't expect to get too much better from month 2, month 3, just because in the previous supplement company we didn't see that much beyond month 1. And so this is great because now we know that, hey, it gets better as you use it. So, and we have 121 people in the study, so it's not like it's a small number, and it's statistically significant. So not only is it statistically significant from the initial to month 1 and the initial to month 2, but the initial to month 3, but it's statistically significant from month 1 to month 2 and month 2 to month 3, which means if you take someone in a sample who's taken this for 2 months, and then they take the same dose, and you just follow them for another month, from month 2 to month 3, they continue to get improvement as well on the quality of life. That's something I've never seen before, but I'm really excited that it's there. I mean, you don't even see this in pharmaceutical drugs because they've done multiple studies on this. And hey, so Doc, that's the.
Doc, would you talk about real quick quality of life? What does that entail, real quick, if you don't mind, just to give the John Taylors of the world?
The John Taylors of the world. Let me just have to talk slower, right? And so I'm going to pull up the MSQ on my other computer right here. And then, okay, so basically what it is a symptom questionnaire. And the symptom questionnaire is basically your perceived symptoms. And then so you have different categories in the symptoms. So it's really from head to toe, like how you feeling up here mentally, what your feelings are, what your anxiety is, headaches, dizziness, insomnia, stuff like that, to allergy symptoms, to watery eyes, to digestive tract, to lungs, how you're breathing, to your heart, irregular heartbeats, or anything like that you feel, energy, emotions, to compulsive eating, binge eating, to joint pains and body aches and stuff like that. And so it's really a very, very conglomerative score. And it's a conglomerate score for reasons, because it lets us functional medicine docs know what to focus on when people are sort of coming to the clinic. But it's an overview, and it's an overview of a total score. And so that's what that really is. Does that make sense, John Taylor?
That's exactly what I was looking for, Doc. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay.
From that month 1 to that month 3, that's absolutely significant. That's monstrous.
Yeah, it's 63%. I mean, that's huge. If you can do this and with 63%, that's great. Someone just commented asking if this is double blinded. You can't really double blind something like this because we're looking at quality of life scores of taking these supplements. So a double blind will be a pharmaceutical study looking at the effects with everything that's kind of controlled out there. It's kind of hard to do with this type of study. And then, I mean, the ideal thing to do is, compare it against placebo. But here's my thought about that. So what happens is we also know that people who take placebo has some improvements as well. But I didn't really go for double blind because I already knew what the other data was out there for pharmaceutical drugs. But focus is the food, it's part of your food regimen. And then the other thing about this is that when you look at quality of life, you're also taking a specific population here with the not so great quality of life, the score of 59, 60. And so you're dealing with people who are already not so great. But what happens is after month 2, month 3, month 4, their quality of life significantly improves. Month 1, month 2, month 3, the quality of life significantly improves. By the time they're month 2, they're really in the normal population. By month 3, you have even a bigger decrease. So that's a big point right there. And so we're on to the next graph. They look so similar. For a reason. So this is so we teased out one thing which I believe is the most important thing to improve in people, and that's sleep. And so what happens is these people were taking it, and they actually get a choice of whether they're taking it morning or nighttime. Most of them took it in the morning time. And so over time, their sleep scores actually improved as well, from 25 all the way down to 8. By the way, the higher the score, the worse the sleep patterns are. And so you see the same things, statistical significance from month 0 to month 1, month 1 to month 2, month 2 to month 3 as well. So sleep is actually included in the MSQ, which is a multiple symptom questionnaire that you see on the previous graph. But we wanted to extrapolate this out because I think everyone can identify with poor sleep, especially with all this crisis going on in the country right now. People are kind of being kept up awake at nighttime with news and stuff like that. So, but I'm really excited about this because it does show that you have sleep improvement over time, once again, from month 1, 2, and month 3 as well. Okay, so okay. Maybe this one was sleep. Maybe the last one is perceived stress. Well, I'll talk about the perceived stress regardless. The last one is perceived stress. I apologize, got the graphs mixed up. So the PSS. So the PSS is the perceived stress scale. And the PSS is looking at what your perception of stress and anxiety are. And it's based on the scale. It's pure just perceiving. So is the quality of life. But the difference about the PSS, and I'm going to pull this up, is that PSS is one of the most heavily published scores in psychiatry. And so it ranges from 0 to 40. Of course, the higher the number, the worse the perceived actual stress. And so this is something that is a quick questionnaire with a scoring system, and it has stuff like in the last month, how often have you been upset about something that unexpectedly happened? How often have you felt you were unable to control the important things in your life? How often have you felt nervous and just stressed? How often have you felt things that were just not going your way? How often have you found that you could not cope with all the things that you had to do? So if you look at the actual questionnaire, it's a very deep and personal questionnaire that's right there. And it may seem that it's multiple ways of asking the same things, but it's really multiple ways of looking at, it's different angles of looking at the actual perceived stress, the little ball That's right there that you can't really get rid of. And so we see that improve over time as well. So you have initial to month 1, month 1 to month 2, month 2 to month 3. They all have statistical significance. So if you look at the three graphs overall, the first one is a medical symptom questionnaire. It's an overview. Overall, how's your quality of life? Pretty good. Second is looking at sleep. And third is looking at stress. So overall quality of life, sleep, and stress. And we can all appreciate by tackling these things, by looking at these scores, we can all appreciate that as we take this longer and longer over time, you see that curve decreasing even to month 3. Like I said, I wish I took this out a little further into month 5 or 6, but we could possibly do something like that in the future. But this is something that's just it's very rewarding for me to see because we're actually showing improvement over time. And so, JT, you asked me about a year ago, you probably don't remember this, about the science behind the molecules and the liposomal formulation and all stuff like that. We're really getting to the nitty-gritty science. And I remember I kept telling you, I was like, I just want to know the humans experience. So we finally have a way of looking at that humans actually experience this. And so, I think we used to focus a lot about the technology that's behind the formula, which by the way is really good, obviously, because we tested the NFL players before and after, just right after taking the formulation. So I have to assume that's actually doing some good in the very immediacy. So the speed is quite there. But now we have a way of just backing up, hey, this is what people are actually experiencing. And so I know that no one else has really this type of data anywhere in the hemp industry, or actually in the supplement industry in general. Actually, I can't think of another company that has something as beautiful as this. And then let's talk about the emotions behind it. So you guys know that, hey, as we're taking people through these studies, there's a lot of emotions, a lot of stories that come out of it, right? And so we're basically collecting stories of these amazing stories of people like just kind of transforming. And so those stories are going to be ingrained in my head forever, more than the actual data is. I mean, the data is really important for y'all because you have to stand behind the product, which is wonderful. I think you should. But the stories that I've collected is some things, I mean, I'll never forget it. It's really changed me as a person, to be honest with you, over the last year and a half. And it's actually propelled me to take more of an educational platform in the world. And that's why I formed a new online university to really educate on different states and disease states. But the two stories that are there, don't make me watch myself, man. Stop playing that video. I'm just joking. The two stories that are really stood out is number one. They're both military vets actually, and number one, I did not know how much of a hole this person was in when he came into the office. I didn't know how close he was to pulling the trigger, literally, when he came to the office. And I didn't find out till month 3 into the study that how close he was, because by month 3 he was a different person. His Instagram looked different. He changed jobs. I mean, the environment that he lived in, that he perceived, was different. And that's an incredible story. And the second story is another. Actually, there's 3 stories. The second story is another military veteran that we've experienced. And he actually did try to kill himself, and then a week later decided to come in with his friend from the first story to see what this is all about, because he had nothing really to live for. And then now both their lives are transformed, and those two are inseparable now. And it's so nice because now we have our military veterans events at the clinic. And they're like our biggest cheerleaders, and it's just an amazing thing to do, to experience. And of course, the NFL players, and just listening to the stories of the NFL players, which by the way, really shocked me how similar their stories are after they leave the NFL. It's very similar to a lot of the military vets coming stateside in active duty because they have lost their defined purpose almost, or the defined purpose is taken away from them, so they have to redefine a new purpose. If they don't find a new purpose, they go into this very, very dark hole, and it's really chilling to see the similarities in their stories. So Caesar, who works for me, he experienced a lot of bad things in the army, and he was actually in a documentary that talked about this. And when he came back stateside, he's seen some horrible things, and then he went into this dark hole too. And then he was talking about how these former NFL players were talking amongst the groups in that room as they're talking to each other, and he's getting chills and goosebumps of how similar the language is to his military veteran groups that were there. And guess what? Their brain scans look almost identical and when they first start. And so the patterns of improvements are almost identical too. So what we know is that the brain is able to look at things and hold on to different things, but the brain's also able to release. And that's what the power of this is. And that's what propels me to continue doing these research and continuing working with PrimeMyBody on these things. And I'm super excited about it.
Dr. Ron, do you think a few people are stressed out right now in our society today?
Nah.
Zero.
Oh, the stress is becoming immense. I'll tell you what. There's a lot of studies that show that stress actually changes the way our genes express. And so we are born with the genes, but we don't have to wear them. So what that means is that we're given genetic material by our parents, but the expressions of those genes is purely environmental, or mostly environmental, not purely environmental. And so the quickest way to manipulate those genes is actually to induce a temporary level of stress. And then after that stress is gone, the calm sets in. So that curve right there actually is able to help humans thrive. That's why people do like cryotherapy, for example, right? And so we're supposed to have this jolt of stress, and we're supposed to recover from it, which means that the tiger is chasing us, we kill the tiger, and we're good. But in this modern day, our stress is a lot of stuff that's on social media, it's a lot of stuff that are really out there, and it creates this physiological response. This physiology now meets our meditation. And that's why we see a lot of the diseases develop these days that we didn't see years ago. And especially in brain, right? We see a lot of brain things that are here that no one really talked about before because they didn't really exist. But it's a long-term physiological effect of stress and toxicities and industrializations and whatnot. And the beauty about it is, if you have something that's able to help you temporarily, immediately, and for the long term, like focus, which we literally just proved that we did, then why not? Why not take it? And if you can change someone's life, wouldn't you want to do it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Doc, we know more is coming. We know that you are going to be doing more studies. We know that you're going to continue on the studies that you're doing, because for us as a company, it's about having science. It's not about having anecdotal conversation. It's not about my product versus yours, and I hope this is better, or I'd like for this to be better. You're showing real live data that our affiliates can use, as well as people that are on this phone call. I've got a couple of guests on this phone call myself here tonight that are watching. Both played sports at a very high level. Both individuals are people. Gotten to know one through soccer with my kids, and got to know another person because I worked at the University of Texas while I was in college, and had a chance to meet one of the gentlemen that's on this call here tonight. And I can tell you what you're doing for individuals. You don't have to be an NFL player. You don't have to be a person that's gone to war. You don't have to go through those tribes are very intense tribes. But the day-to-day walk of taking care of the people we love, we care about our families, the stress that goes into our society today, the economic worries that people are going through right now, the stress of money. When somebody tells you have to close your gym for 30 days, when somebody tells you that you can't be somewhere for 30 days, when people have to be quarantined, which you follow the guidelines of everything that's going on from our government. but it also causes an immense amount of stress. So I would just want to personally thank you for being somebody that's here for us and being such a stalwart in this industry, for helping us to be able to provide the science that people need, not the anecdotal conversation, but the science and the data that people need. So when they take a product, they're not just walking over to a shelf and going, well, what about this one? And the person behind the shelf doesn't even know what they're talking about. Our affiliates are bringing the best to the market. So thank you. I appreciate you being on here tonight.
Yeah, no, thank you. I just want to leave with something that I think is really important to me, because as you're talking about this, so earlier, I guess about 4 hours ago, in my Facebook, I did a Facebook Live with one of my newer employees. I don't know him that well, but now I do, because he shared something on there. And by the way, this is my Focus on Military Veterans video that I did. He shared something on there about himself that I did not know he was going to say, because I didn't know that story existed, about his depressive and self-destructive behaviors that were really shocking to me. And I want everyone to really watch that video to really understand what people are going through. And I want people to share it, because, you can help one military veteran, fight through some things. It's totally worth it. Please share that video. And it's such a powerful thing. I totally didn't expect Devar to really tell me that story, because I just didn't know about it. And by the way, he was in the Army, and he's a military vet, and he's been through a lot of horrendous things after coming back stateside, that I don't think he shared it with anyone publicly. So it's kind of his new public release. And I want people to really understand that yes, we're in a business. PMV is a business, but at the same time, it's like the business of empowerment, and that's what's really cool. And I'm in the business of empowerment as well. And I want people to really just take away from the fact that yes, there's sciencey stuff that's on here, but it's not me who's the hero. It's everyone else who's listening to this. Y'all are the heroes. I may be the little Yoda in the corner, but y'all are the actual heroes. And you have to put yourself into that role so that you can come up to bat for people. And I think that's the attitude that we should really take into this approach. Don't you agree, John Taylor?
Dr. Ron, I couldn't agree with you more. You're absolutely correct, because in this time, those prayer, that meditation, those good thoughts, those actually help our body. And if we follow you talk about prayer, meditation, those good thoughts, and how that actually builds the immune system up instead of negativity, anxiety, worry, stress, that tears down the system of the body. I know old dogs can learn new tricks. I know that. And I appreciate you being a huge part of that.
No, thank you. Definitely can learn new tricks. As long as you're alive, you can learn new tricks. That's the best part.
Well, Dr. Ron, we appreciate that. Guys, we're going to take the next 5-7 minutes. Austin Tice, I see you. How you doing? Aloha. Aloha, howdy. I'm just saying howdy. You're in Texas. You're a Texas boy that wants to be transplanted into Hawaii. So I know you've got your place over there, and it's beautiful, and it is absolutely phenomenal. But Austin, network marketing provides people a platform, and our company is a network marketing company. We give people the ability to go out and market products and gather affiliates and sell products, and we have the most amazing array of products. If you got on this website, if you got on this call tonight, the person that got you here can take you through all of our products. They can walk you through a compensation plan. And people today are looking. They're looking more than ever before, because they're trying to figure out what the next 30 and 60 and 90 days looks like, or the next 6 months. And it is a time of more than ever that people are looking. So Austin, from a business perspective, from a network marketing perspective, people that are on here tonight that are looking at this, that want to hear a little information about that, we're going to be really short with this. But what insight would you like to give people? Phenomenal information from Dr. Cheng Ruan. You're a 7-figure earner in the network marketing industry on a yearly basis. We make no claims or guarantees that you're going to make any money, but I just want you to understand who's having a conversation with you on here. You're a co-founder of the company. You're also a Black Diamond affiliate, which means you've reached the highest level in the compensation plan. And I'm very excited to have you on this call tonight. So Austin Tice from Houston, Texas, take it away.
JT, thanks. Dr. Ron, thank you. One of the best parts about living in Houston is having access to Dr. Ron. He's incredible, and we're really blessed to have him. being a part of our company gives you access to him. Having access to calls like this, different wellness trainings, events that he is a part of with our company, it's incredible. Right now, the world is in a really interesting place. Will we come out of it? Yeah, we will, but we're not going to be the same as we were before. There's, in my opinion, two types of people. There's people who are going to live in fear until this problem is solved, and then they're going to go right back living the same life they were. And then there's the other type of person who is going to look inwardly and ask themselves where their identity has been found and what they can do to make changes so that they can actually upgrade in this time of quarantine, if I may. And one of the things that PrimeMyBody is offering is a system that can support you in this process. We've existed before it, we're going to exist after it, but it's really unique where we're able to meet people at right now with the situation we find ourselves in. I'll hit at it from three angles. One, the community. To be able to connect with people, to be a part of the community, will learn more about how it is they can step into their highest version of their self, operate within their potential that will allow them to pursue their destiny and their dreams. Man, that's exciting for so many people to be a part of and have an opportunity to know can happen for them. And so in a time where we're disconnected and we're not even able to maybe even go sit at our favorite coffee shop, to be able to be at home, have a coffee, and be a part of a community like this one and connect, man, that's a powerful thing. And not to mention, the type of people that make up this community is amazing. Dr. Ron is one of those people. Secondly, the opportunity to use products just like the one in front of you called Focus that can transform your ability to get out of your head and into the moment. So much of what is paralyzing people isn't the virus, it's the fear. And one of the things that I love about our hemp extract is that it's helping people get out of this fight or flight state of emotional and mental response and bring them into their bodies, into this state that a lot of people refer to as stay and play, meaning be present, be grounded, be aware, be tuned in, dialed in, and aware of what's going on around you and in you, instead of being in this crippled, constricted, paralyzed state. And when you're in that state, unfortunately, like many people find themselves, you're not able to absorb the food that you're eating, regardless of how good it is. The body actually, as Dr. Ron has talked about, oftentimes looks upon it as something that's toxic or foreign or that isn't supposed to be there. Fight or flight biologically evolved in humans is something that was a state that we sort of deployed or tapped into when we were running for our lives. We're not necessarily running from an animal at this point, but the response is still the same. The emotional, engineered, built-in default mechanism that many of us lean on during times of stress is absolutely still the same. And so for the same reasons that your body's not going to properly digest and break down and give you the nutrients and food that you need if you were running for your life, is the same reason that in a state of heightened stress like the one the world is in today, you're probably not going to be able to absorb the things you need to perform your best, to have a strong immune system, and to defend against free radicals and pathogens that are in our environment. So one of the things, of the many things that I love about our hemp extract, is that it's bringing people out of that fight or flight state into the moment, into their body, into that stay and play, grounded, tuned in, strong place of balanced just approach. And it's allowing people to step into their power, allowing their bodies to function and work at a high level. Lastly, people are hurting right now. There's a lot of people who aren't going to miss much of a beat. Maybe it's because they have plenty of money saved up. Maybe it's because they can work from anywhere, their phone, whatever. But there's a lot of people, bartenders, people who work at airports, flight attendants, whose itinerary's been cut short. The list goes on and on and on, right? Make no mistake about it. Cash flow is going to be, if it isn't already, a major concern for people. And the thing that I love about what we're doing here is that we hit on every single thing that people are concerned about. They're concerned about a lack of community, a lack of connection. We have that. They're gravely concerned about whether or not they can be healthy enough to get through a difficult or challenging time. Well, that starts with making sure that, you're prepared for it, putting your body in a place where it can perform its best, right? And lastly, people are concerned about whether or not they're going to have the resources necessary, the cash to support themselves, to support their family, maybe a little extra over to support their friends. And so however it is you're evaluating PrimeMyBody tonight, could be one of our amazing hemp extracts. As I've been talking, you've seen a couple of different products shown in front of you. We have an amazing Knox cannabis anti-aging serum that knocks, no pun intended, lines and wrinkles off your face. It's amazing. We're focusing big time on the skincare of how cannabis can bring value to you. This is an amazing moisturizer you're looking at, high in vitamin D. You can use it in the morning or evening, helping to nourish skin, boost elasticity, no parabens, no sulfates, nothing artificial. And then lastly, we've got some great stuff that can help you while you're on the go. Maybe you're not a lot of on the go stuff now, but I'd say that protein's probably going to come in a lot of handy for people who are quarantined. It's probably a breath of fresh air from some of the non-perishables you might be eating. PrimeMyBody is exactly that. We're a company that wants to help put you in a position to perform your best, to prime your body with the things it needs, the community that we all need as humans, the products, supplements, the plants that we need to step into our potential, to feel great, to perform great, step into our, really operate within our destiny, pursue it, be excited about it. And lastly, to be able to build a business inside of one of the fastest growing industries in the world, the cannabis industry, that plant-based approach to wellness, from your cell phone. It does not matter where you're at. You can be a part of what we're doing. And so JT, as I wrap up, man, that's my three things I look at that I love what we're doing. But people are looking for answers, and you might be one of those people listening. I'm really happy you made it to this phone call, but there's also a lot of people that we know are looking. And so I do feel like that I'm in a blessed place to be able to have something like PrimeMyBody to share with them. So if you're taking a look at us tonight, whether it's as a customer or potentially as a business partner to come work with us, all operations are a go here at PrimeMyBody. We're ready to serve. We're ready to meet you where you're at and bring value to you in any way that we can. So praying for you, your family, stay safe. And JT, appreciate you having me on, man, and I'll hand it back over to you.
Austin, I appreciate you, man. Guys, thank you. Thank you for being on this call tonight. Again, like Austin said, we'll be praying for you. We appreciate you stopping by. A lot of information. This won't be the only time we have Dr. Ruan on. We're going to chop it up even deeper and more. There's more stuff that he's done. There's more stuff we'll be rolling out. That PMB science has been a long time in the making, but these studies take time. So you guys are getting it hot off the press. You guys are getting a chance to see some of the most powerful information and studies that are done with not 5 or 10 people. We're talking about 42 plus people, 52 plus people, 121 plus people that were sitting in and being a part of our studies, real live studies that bring the data. And it's the real emotions. There's real emotions that people are going through. There's real pain that people are experiencing, both physically and financially. If you're feeling either one of those pains, get with the person that got you on here, get your questions answered, come be a part of this. Again, like Austin said, customer and affiliate, we want to serve you at the highest level. Our community, the tribe that's here, is about serving and helping people. And we're doing it in Japan, we're doing it in Mexico, soon to be Africa, soon to be Europe, soon to be around the world as we take this brand. But you know what? Places like Nebraska need this right now. Florida needs this right now. Texas needs this right now. California needs this right now. And now more than ever, we have an opportunity to serve in this chaotic time that we live in. I was talking to a gentleman earlier today, and I said to him, when you bring value in a time of chaos, that's when the magic is there. And that's what we're doing right now. We're bringing value to people's lives. Guys, have a super night. God bless you. And thanks for stopping by. Us at PrimeMyBody, we want to serve you at the highest level. I'm all in. I hope you are too. Have a super night. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Dr. Ruan. Thanks, Austin. And thanks, everybody that was on here tonight.